to the DNVR Avalanche Pregame Show presented by DRAFTKINGS Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Rudo, AJ, and Blais coming at you live as the Avs take on the Detroit Red Wings as last game of this home stand. They kind of go right back on the road in this back-to-back anyway, but they do come home for a second. Avs.
You mean road trip?
Did I say homestand?
Yes.
My bad. Yeah. Road trip. They've been on the road, obviously.
You used air quotes, so at least
homestand.
Yeah, so at least subconsciously you knew something was up.
Look, every building is the Avs building, okay?
There you go. I like that.
Yeah.
Avs giving Francouz the start tonight. We do have MacKinnon out for precautionary reasons. We do have McDermott back to forward. Also, in other notes, apparently BYRAM is skating by himself, not in practices or anything, but that's people have been literally acting by the dozen every day. What's going on with BYRAM?
One of our
that's what we got
for today. So we'll just.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes.
Someone live barned him out there practicing on the ice. Yeah, by himself skating around.
If you've never used Live Barn, the best cameras in the business, let me tell you.
I was going to head down there this morning, and then I woke up and my phone was -3 degrees, and I was like, "Just kidding."
Not going there.
We're
look,
good.
Let's start here. How do we feel about Detroit as a hockey team? Because they're right around 500. Obviously, the way the East is, there's no chance they make the playoffs just because it's so top heavy. But are they still in a rebuild, or is this year one of being out of it for them?
Yeah, I think it's kind of year one of being out of it because they're answering questions that you have to answer when you want to like transition from rebuild to we're no longer focusing on draft picks in the future. You have to have answered questions in order to do that. You have to who's going to be your big guy on defense? Who's your number one center? Who are some of your building blocks here? And they very clearly have those guys.
Yeah. I mean, they've got young up and coming talent, right? Like if you look at this is like what the Avs were doing when they were in their rebuild, and now coming out is like you've got a lot of they've got 3 players that are basically could be CALDER players. I know we're going to talk about that in a second, but they've got some players.
Dylan Larkin and Tyler Bertuzzi have kind of been like guys on an island the last couple of years. Is like the dudes who are. Oh man, my carpet is really soft on my foot today. It's really weird. Those are like the guys that you kind of they've been kind of like we're building around these guys.
Cornerstones.
Mantha was part of that, and then he got dealt for Vrana because Washington was high as fuck to make that deal. But Stevie Y, But you've got you throw in the Lucas Raymond and the Moritz Seider, especially Seider, and it's such a different conversation because now you're like, all right, there's your cornerstone, there's your actual franchise building block, and then you add in the fact that they just used another high pick on Simon Edmondson.
Yep,
and like they've been using a lot of other high picks on other defenders, the McIsaac types over the years. And you're talking about like a team that's like right there, right? Like it's obvious that Yzerman is doing exactly the same thing that he did in Tampa Bay, where he said, "Hey, we need lots and lots and lots of draft picks. We're going to sell everything off, lots of picks, and then we're gonna transition those guys. We're gonna hope to develop some of those guys, and you're gonna miss along the way. Philip Zadina is a guy that's on the trade block this year and could be a piece for a team, that wants to take a chance on trying to rebuild that guy. So you're talking about like they've drafted so many guys at so many different positions. They've used first round picks on all 3 layers: forward, defense, and goaltender. They're kind of there. You've seen the fruition of it, right? Like, okay, you're now competitive. You're no longer rebuilding. You're no longer messing around with like, hey, maybe we get lucky with a lottery win, So you're you're talking about a Detroit organization that is sort of stuck in no man's land in the East right now. Not really good enough to keep up with the powers that be, but should be a year or two away from taking over when a Washington or a Pittsburgh or a Boston fall off a little bit.
Even just getting a healthy Vrana maybe starts to push them into that conversation.
Yeah, I don't know that he's the difference between 8 to 10 points
sure,
they've got between the Bruins.
It could be like 4 or 5.
It could be a couple here and there. Definitely. I mean, it's one more guy. Vrana has shown himself to be a pretty legit NHLer. So, I still think that I still think that they've probably got another 2 years, until they really are like there. And obviously, big question. Sebastian Cossa is a big thing, but when you've got two guys chasing down the Calder at the same time this year, it's you're in a good position. You are kind of announcing to the NHL like, hey, we're no longer this doormat, but they're competitive. They're your ultimate on any given night. That team can beat you. Well, there's enough guys there. They've got Nedeljkovic in net that can, on any given night, you expect that guy to play pretty well. And between Larkin and Lucas Raymond and Seider and all the, they've got enough guys that can hurt you.
The big question for them is, what do they do on defense? Because at the end of this year, you have Leddy, DeKeyser, Mark Stahl, and Troy Stetcher all as UFAs.
Yeah, and I think Stahl you probably let go. DeKeyser you probably let go. Leddy might be worth bringing around. It'll be interesting to see if they can get something for him at the deadline.
Yeah,
I'm really curious what Nick Leddy's market would be. If he wasn't making $5.5 million, I'd probably be making a little more noise as him as a good fit in Colorado, just as a style fit, as a good skater and a natural puck moving talent. But because of the money, I think you probably would have to work a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
Now, if he's your big, the next guy we're going to talk about in BYRAM is, if BYRAM is back, then you really don't need a Nick Leddy. But if there's no BYRAM, then the importance of a guy like Nick Leddy probably goes up a little bit. So, I think, but really, like, what do you do on defense? You kind of just let that shake out. I mean, I would let DeKeyser go because I think Danny DeKeyser fucking sucks. But that's just me. I could understand as a career long Red Wing, and I think he played college hockey there too. He's a guy that, like, you can bring him back. He won't make anywhere near the money he's making now, though.
If he wants to be a 6th, 7th or something, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Blais, I know it was a long time ago for you, but how easy was hockey when you were a 19, 20-year-old?
Not easy enough. I mean, obviously I'm here talking with you guys and not playing in the NHL, right? So, like, obviously it's pretty hard, but some of these kids make it look easy, right? It's insane. Like, and when we're talking about Detroit, just to add to that is, like, you've got these rookies, and, like, think about Cale Makar, his first year. Like, he was good, right? But, like, look what he is now at 22, 23 years old. And obviously he was a little older when he was coming in as well. But I mean, a few years in the league, and these kids, like, understand it. They get stronger, obviously, being with the team and with a strength conditioning coach, and that makes a world of difference for these
going from being 19 years old to 22 years old,
just filling out their bodies.
Yeah, and
naturally growing into it a little is such a big part of their development.
And just being around, professionals that can give you the tips and tricks. And when you're in the NHL, that means that you've kind of have the sponge idea of taking in all the experience that's around you and using that for your game. So
a very generous $20 from James going to the Blais gambling fund right there.
I actually meant to send you guys something I saw on TikTok last night. A yacht has gone on sale.
Oh, God. How much we saving?
$2.1 million.
All right, that's like 10% of what we
I
saw.
know. $2.1 million had a stateroom and 2 jacked guest rooms.
I wonder what happened on that yacht that it's so cheap.
Only those 3 rooms, but they were legit. Each of them had a queen size bed. So you're not talking about like none of that twin bullshit, none of that. Queen size beds, even the stateroom had a king, so that's nice.
Is the deck big enough to build a hockey rink on, though?
No.
And it's gonna be a tough sell.
No, but you could definitely play some floor hockey on it.
A little bit of shinny pickup on a half rink or something.
Yeah. So I saw that. I saw it go on. So how dumb is it? Me telling on myself that I follow yacht TikTok because of this.
How many yachts do you think actually sell because of TikTok? It can't be many.
It can't be many. I mean, it wasn't like an advertisement. It was somebody just being like, "Hey, just like here's a yacht, right?" And it was like walking through it, and like this thing just went on sale for $2.1 million, and I was like, "Shit, that would fit great outside, right behind the bar." $2.1 million. We're a lot closer to our goal. We're $18 million closer to our goal.
Just like that. We might not be buying a yacht anytime soon, but at this rate, both Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond are going to get paid in a couple of years. Let's start with Lucas Raymond, because after a ridiculously white hot start to the season, he's fallen off a little bit. That's not to say he's playing poorly. He's just not over a point per game at this point.
And we talked about it, like Lucas Raymond, especially when you're a wing and you're a rookie, like it's a tough go, man, because you're just not in the middle of all the action at the same level. But Raymond. I mean, this was predictable. I think that you are not expecting, like, the stuff that we saw with Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes. Like that was rare territory. Rookies going at a point per game pace for an entire year, and going hard at it, and especially obviously those guys were freaks because they were defensemen, but. Like you don't see tons of guys do that. Tons of rookies go the point per game pace. So I think it was a fair expectation that Raymond has fallen off. And I would, if I'm voting for Calder today, Raymond is not even my top forward anymore. My top rookie forward anymore.
All right, a fair argument.
Trevor Zegras has just come on.
I know.
So strong.
I know. And Zegras gets all of the highlight hype, right? Because he does the ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, he is playing center. He is doing heavy lifting. He is driving the boat on, and he's a huge part of that success. Well, obviously Raymond is too, but Raymond isn't even the best rookie on his own team, and that's because Moritz Seider has shown himself to be a true number 1D, and. What an interesting generation the Germans have like fallen their way into right now with this level of talent that they have. The high end guys, their depth isn't any good, but Moritz Seider is having an awesome season, and there really isn't like a thing that you point to and you're just like, but he doesn't do that well. He does it all.
Does everything real well.
Yeah, he's doing it all. He's playing almost 23 minutes a night. He's got 35 points in 51 games, which in the before the Quinn Hughes, Adam Fox, Cale
would have been outrageous.
That's awesome. He's having an amazing year. Now he's gotten mighty fat off of power play points. He leads rookies in power play points. So he's getting a lot of work done on the power play. He's getting plenty done at even strength though.
Yeah. Yep. It's crazy now that the defensive kids that are coming out, right, are just like, it's like you're good at D, and that's all it used to be, right? Like you're good in the defensive zone. That's all we really wanted from you. And now these new defensemen that are coming out, that's just like a given. And now it's like, well, what can you do in the offensive zone? Like, how can you add to what's going on the other side of the ice? And
I mean, I think the most impressive part to me, he's a 20-year-old kid. It's his first year in the league. His last 5 games is TOI 26, 27, 25, and then 23 and 22.
Yeah.
He's genuinely their number 1D.
Yeah.
50 games into his career.
On a team with Nick Leddy, who won a Stanley Cup, Mark Stahl, who went to the Stanley Cup finals. Like on a team with some veterans that can kind of show him the ropes and all, but he has like so significantly outplayed all of those guys. And obviously, like, nobody's looking at Mark Stahl as a top guy anymore. It's been a long time, Nick Leddy even. It's been a long time since Nick Leddy's been looked at as a top-tier talent on defense. But for Seider to roll in the way that he has and just do what he's doing, it's very impressive. And justifies Detroit's draft day, kind of their big shocker back in 2019 to take Seider where they did.
Yeah.
Nobody really had a good feel for his value that day. He was going to be one of the big stories to follow. Drafting a guy out of the DEL, big time question mark. How good was his offense? How good was his all-around game? A lot of people believed in him defensively. Great size, all that, right? Like that's all good and well, but how was his offensive game going to translate? And very well.
Was all the way. Yeah,
very well. I mean, he's a more productive NHL player than he was a DEL player.
And a lot of those assists too are primary assists, aren't they? They're not like the secondary, like just picking up assists.
I can't tell you that I've dug into it, so I really don't know. But just an impressive season for the kid.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. On the Avs side of things,
a good rookie class too. Like it didn't look very good starting out, but I do like this class.
Trevor Zegras is a rookie by one game.
Well, and then you like Lucas Raymond, a legit rookie. Anton Lundell has been really good in Florida.
He was one that I did not think we were going to see the offense translate at all for.
Same.
And he's
felt like a weird pick for Florida at the time.
Yeah.
Like I really liked it because I like the fit. But watching him kind of blow up the way that it's been impressive. And then, I mean, you get into Dawson Mercer and Tanner Jeannot, Jamie Drysdale, obviously Newhook, Boldy, Cole Caulfield's back from the dead, back from the prospect grave, looking like he actually remembers how to play hockey again. Looks really good all of a sudden. I think we're going to look back on this rookie class and be like, that was a pretty good class.
We have a $2 super sticker from Jake here. We don't actually have the description, but I'll do my best. It's something like a pear character jiggling and blushing as he looks to the side. Something like that. It's the best I got. Yeah. Anyway, rookie class is good. Bowen Byram. He's going to be a key piece of conversation around the Avs trade deadline, full stop, whether he's coming back or not, because it's going to change the Avs approach.
Well, and the timing of him resuming skating, he still has a long way to go here. He's got to skate. He's got to be in shape. He's got to get back into a hockey rhythm. He's got to get back into a hockey schedule. He's got to hang out with the team. He has to resume his full normal life and continue to feel good and be positive. But the fact that we are just under now a month to the day of the deadline, I guess 2 days from the deadline, it's an important development, because if he hadn't resumed skating and it's March 15th, you can't plan. You're having to plan your deadline around him not coming back. Yep. This could change that conversation where I'm not even talking about him coming back and playing in 2 weeks. I'm saying you fast forward a month from now, he's had time to do all of those things. If he continues to progress, and privately, we just keep hearing only good things about him making progress, him feeling a lot better. And the more that they're giving him, the more that he gets back into doing the things he needs to do and continues to feel good, the more you start to feel like, okay, maybe there's a chance that he plays a role. Because obviously they're trying to be safe here. They're giving him all of the opportunity that he needs to get right and not have to do this again. And say, okay, we were trying to you said you felt good, and then you would play a game, and then you wouldn't feel good, and then the in and out, the trying to fly by the seat of the pants, it wasn't working. They said go home and get better. He's done that, and he's doing everything asked of him. The Avs are showing, to be honest with you, pretty extraordinary patience here. You do wonder if the Avs weren't as loaded on defense, if they weren't as loaded as a team, what their approach might have been. If he was vital to their season or whatever, if they might have leaned on him a little bit more. I will always be curious, but the world that we're in is he's fine. Like he's doing his thing. They're letting him do his thing. They're letting him feel better. All this talk about retirement is insane. This is fucking nuts. Like, if he ultimately could not, like, if we would have to get 2 years down the road to have that kind of conversation.
Yeah. I mean, Avs fans are very aware of this conversation, right? They went through it with Connor Timmins 2 years ago.
Well, and Connor Timmins was a great example of Connor Timmins was feeling much better in that spring of that season, and the Avs just said, "Hey, we only have a month till the season. We're not going anywhere. We have no expectations. Like, he's not going to be part of the NHL team. We're not going to rush this guy for an AHL playoff run, right? Like, we could just give him the extra 6 months." The situation with BYRAM is a little bit different just because theoretically, if he plays, right? Like,
there's more importance there, sure.
It's kind of the carrot at the end of the stick is if he plays, he's part of
a potential cup run.
Yeah, he's part of you're trying to go 4 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, and with concussions, right? Like, obviously, time is a big factor, but again, they're not a linear recovery like other, injuries that are sustained throughout the year. But I will say, like, time does help with that. And luckily, the Avs, like you were saying, AJ, have that luxury of not having to play him. And it's a good sign that he's out skating. I've had my concussions. The last one I had, I was coaching, smashed my head. And that it takes a long time to get back, and you have good days and bad days. And obviously now he feels strong enough to be on the ice, which is a good sign. So hopefully he just keeps progressing that way, and it just works out for both parties.
Well, the whole point is to string together good days. You got to be able to do that, and you had to put a bunch of good days together in order for him to say, okay, let's go back out on the ice.
Yep.
All right. So now he's got to go back out on the ice. He's in the bright lights. He's under, he's in the arena. He's skating around. He's going fast. He's zooming around. Blah 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 blah. You're just talking about stringing together good days.
Yeah. Hopefully he's not doing things like The Accountant. Have you guys seen that movie where?
I have not.
Ben Affleck's in a room with lights blinking, smashing his legs, trying to get back into.
Well, there were other things involved in that.
But that's that's what I'm saying is like that. What you were saying, AJ, like the bright lights, loud noises, obviously.
Yeah, he's got to be able to adjust to that. He's got to be able to feel that. Those were the problems that Joey Hishin had, that Jesse Winchester had, that they never got over. Though they were never able to. Jesse Winchester was fine actually until he would skate around on Pepsi Center ice. And when he did that, that's when problems arose.
Yep.
So he's got to be able to do that. He's got to be able to, like, that's the next step. He skates around. He does the next thing. You guys are misconstruing what I said. I said it's insane to talk about retirement now.
Yeah. Even like,
you would have to get years into this for that to be a possibility.
Joey Hishin came back, for the record. Now, you can make an argument that the concussion changed the way he played hockey.
It definitely did. Ask him; he'll tell you. And he even said he never fully returned.
Yep. But he did get to a point where he could play hockey again.
Yeah, he played pro hockey for several years.
Yep. Went over to the SHL, right? But
yeah, then became Justin Bieber's personal hockey coach.
Yeah.
You just hope it's not something like Chris Pronger's injury, right? Like the stories coming out of his camp at the end of his career were just like awful.
Well, but the thing is, like, there's a pretty decent precedent for stuff like this happening in the NHL. Crosby missed tons of time with concussion problems and came back. And I know one of them they think is probably like a neck thing too. But the list goes on of guys who've missed huge amounts of time with concussions, but get back and are still very, very good.
Well, and even like Mark Savard did retire, but Mark Savard returned.
Yep.
It was the concussion he suffered, I think, when Matt Hunwick hit him.
Yep.
That was the one where it was like, this is now done.
Yep.
So again, this conversation of the guy considering retirement and all this shit, you're way premature on all of that.
If he doesn't play the rest of this year and then he doesn't play the rest of next year, then maybe you're having that conversation.
Yeah.
But
then you start talking about it. Absolutely.
All right. Let's get to Blais's bets here. He's got a 4 spot for you today. He's bringing you an extra
4. I'm blaming you here on this one.
By
One
3.
of these were just ones I was choosing. I didn't know what ones to pick yet. So you're going to see 4. And, the reason that there is 4 here is because MacKinnon is missing out of the lineup. So you're going to see some two Cadre bets here. This is like a little bit of my personal stuff, but let's start with the first one here. Colorado first period puck line to win by a goal at plus 115. Again, if you go to DraftKings, the odds change every day. So trying to find value here. This is one where I feel like they had a bad outing in Boston. I'm sure they got reprimanded by Bednar, and I'm sure they're, want to prove that they are a good team. So they are going to come out on fire. So I felt this would be a good pick to go with. You guys feel good about that one?
Anytime you see a plus next to the Avs winning, it feels good.
Yeah, and the first period, right? So like, I feel like they're going to come out with a jump.
20-minute segments, sure, but the Avs being ahead, especially of a team that's floating around 500, you feel like that's a team the Avs should be able to beat. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then with MacKinnon out of the lineup, what you're going to see with the power play, you're going to probably see Kadri with some more minutes on the ice. So Kadri anytime goal at plus 175. The guy likes to score goals. Plus 175 for one goal. Let's go. Let's see if he can do that. And then Kadri on the power play points at a half, one power play point, right, at plus 125. I thought those were two good values that you could see there. Again,
this is Blais trying to win the first period where the Avs score a power play. Kadri scores the power play goal with an assist to Makar, and he just checks all the boxes, and the Avs did 1-0 at the end of the first.
4 bets in one period.
Yeah, I did it. Last game I had what was that? 2 bets on one shot. So let's do it again. And then the other one that's just like the staple, right, is Makar. That one was a power play point. Just his assist points went back to, now it's like 1.5 points to get positive money.
Hard to go with that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a watch along coming up, so be sure to just jump over to that YouTube video. So right here on the same YouTube channel. Shouldn't be hard to get to. We do need to go set that up before puck drop, though. So we are going to get out of here. We appreciate all of y'all hanging out. Come hang out on the watch along. If not, you can still show up for the post game after the game. We'll be live there. We hope to see you there, and we will talk to you in hopefully like 2 minutes.